I think when we heard that for the first time since 2015 that the U.S. Women's Open was heading back to Lancaster, that I don't know how well you remember it from 2015. I will not claim to have intimate knowledge of that golf course from that U.S. Open, U.S. Women's Open. So when they played it this year, I guess the way that I would phrase it would be, I must have forgotten how good it is. I must have forgotten how this golf course is so darn good. Severe? Yeah. Complaints that the setup was too tough? Did you remember this is the U.S. Open? For better or for worse, it is what it is. U.S. Open prides itself on being the toughest setup in golf. It was the toughest setup in golf. I think the judgment of any event, any tournament, but certainly a major is, ultimately, did it determine who the best golfer was that week? Did it create the best golfer? Or were the results too influenced by just a fickle twist of fate? Ultimately, although I think Lancaster at times tread that line, ultimately, I think it produced the best golfer of the week. Consider this. Yuka Saso has now won 2 U.S. Women's Open. Yuka Saso, then, a multiple-time major champion now, is all of 22 years old. Let that settle in for a second. Number 6 in Rolex rankings. There you see it. 2 LPGA Tour wins. They're both majors, thank you very much. 18 career top 10s. And at 22 years old, if you kind of shrugged and said, well, you've already won a U.S. Open, what have you done for me lately? Again, I harken back, 22, performing at the grandest of stages and still learning along the way. So incredibly important. So at Yuka's press conference, the question rightfully asked was, what is it with you and the U.S. Women's Open?
I don't know. Like I said, I think it's the familiar faces that I see, like Julia, Sarah, all the staff, the USGA staff. They just make me feel very welcomed, and they take a good care of me, and maybe that's the reason why. I hit a good tee shot on 1 after 3 days, and I think I played pretty stable. I made double bogey on 6 though. I think that happens every time. I think that happened too in 2021. I think that double is a good luck. But I think, I was hearing my drivers really good. I don't think I've missed a lot of fairways today. I putted really good. I switched to this new putter, Odyssey. I've been putting really well with that, and I think that helped a little bit as well. And I think just stay patient and enjoy playing golf. Well, I can be impatient with other things, but I think, I don't know how to explain it. Just stay in the moment and trying to focus on every shot, trying to do my routine, I think helps a little bit to calm down a little bit and be patient. I remember before we start, he talked to me, and whatever happens today, he'll be very proud of me, and I think I remember that all the way. I think that kind of words of him helped me a lot. I don't know, I went to 2021 and haven't won after that, and I think it just makes it special, because after a long wait, and I wasn't expecting to win the U.S. Women's Open. Every time last time too, I wasn't expecting it. This time too, I wasn't expecting it. I think that's why it made me a bit emotional, and winning, it just make you look back and all the things that your family and your team and my sponsors, they supported me throughout, good or bad. especially, ICTSI or KPMG, especially Callaway. I've been I talk to them so much. I've been requesting a lot about golf clubs, and they've been all the support that they did. I'm very grateful, and every time I made a request, they would answer right away, and I think those stuff helps too. And like I said, all the people here at the USGA it feels very comfortable. I think I really wanted it as well, not just to get a second win, but to also to prove something to myself. I haven't won in 2.5 or 3 years, and I definitely had that a little doubt if I can win again or if I won't win again. But yeah, I think those experience helped a lot, and I think I was able to prove a little bit something to myself.
What I like about this conversation with Yuka Saso is that, yes, she's won twice on the LPGA. Yes, they're both major championships, which is incredibly impressive. Yes, she is still only 20 years old. But remember, in 22, she had a runner-up and a third-place finish. In 23, she had a runner-up and 2 third-place finishes. She's knocking on the door at other wins as well. What I also really enjoyed, and this was mostly post-victory, in fairness, was we had an opportunity to get to know her personality again, to realize how engaging she is, to realize how intelligent she is, consider the fact that she is multilingual and is able to speak the English language as well as she is from a communication standpoint to the largest golf audience in the world. It was very, very impressive on so many different levels. It speaks to the depth of the LPGA because, look, the story coming in was going to be Nelly Korda, and rightfully so and fairly so. But a 10 at the par 3 12th in the opening round really kind of dimmed the hopes. At that point, she was trying to dig her way out of a hole. And she gave it a valiant effort. And from that point, too, it was pretty fun to watch. Now, talk about valiant efforts. Allie Ewing. Ultimately, Allie Ewing, who admittedly is a friend of the show, and so we get excited for her to see her play well. She's a good person, a good human being. Allie ended up finishing in that tie for third on the wings of what she did in that final round, 66, such as it was. And when she got done, came in to see the media, she was asked the question because, it's the nature of what we do, right? As sports fans, people who love the game of golf, we're going to have conversations in the context of, remember, this is the same Allie Ewing that was knocking on the door through the first 3 rounds at the Women's Open last year at Walton Heath. And it wasn't the first time that she's been knocking on those doors. She's already a winner on the LPGA. But when you watch what she did at the U.S. Women's Open to finish that strongly in a final round, it makes you wonder what lies right around the corner. But first, she reflected on what just was.
Yeah, it was a really solid start. I had really good looks on 2, 3, 4. Didn't convert them, but burned the edges. So the key for me this week was just to continue to try to hit good shots, give myself opportunities, and you have putts out here that are 10-footers that on a normal golf course you would think, oh, it's a good look for birdie, but some 10-footers out here you're just trying to get the ball in the hole for par. So it was a solid game plan and really good execution today. Yeah, I think this will end up being my best finish in a major, for sure best finish at a U.S. Open. So, assuming it holds up as it is, I think for any golfer, we want to peak around major championships, starting the week with a 4 over, and then just gradually playing the golf course better and better, executing more shots. It's just a really good feeling. This was where I made my first professional U.S. Open start. So, really good memories for Lancaster now. Yeah, it was great. I definitely remember that from 2015. That week was really a blur because I got in on Tuesday night, and I got here Wednesday and only got 9 holes in. So I really remembered the crowd support in the Lancaster area. So it's always exciting when you get to a good venue. It's a really good challenge, but then also you have a lot of spectators and fans show up for us. So that's always great.
All right, so Allie Ewing, reflecting on the week that was, and also alluding to what I was just discussing, this idea of ascension. And it's one of my favorite things when we follow a player in golf. There are those that break out and they're great, and they're just like a shooting comet. They don't seem to stop until the light burns out. But I think it's particularly fun to watch a player going through the steps. I haven't had a chance to talk to Allie in a sit down since the Women's Open, the AIG Women's Open last year. But I would guess that experience there, especially the pressure that she was under in the final round, that did, in fairness, consume her, at least as compared to what she had done leading to that point, that she learned from that. And here she was in this final round, almost to a point where there just weren't a lot of people watching her because it wasn't the type of golf course that gave you a sense it was going to give up a lot of really low scores. And she shot a really low score, at least by comparison, on that in that final round. Very, very impressive. So that's where I'm coming from, saying keep an eye on this space. Watch for Allie Ewing as she moves forward. Allie, as you guys probably know from maybe knowing her story or when she was on here telling us recently, she's a diabetic. And the way that she's managing her health, the way that she's managing her fitness, the way that she manages her game, she's long. I'm a huge fan, and I think there's great things in store. You know, I feel the same way about Andrea Lee as well. Now, she faded in the final round to 75, but she still finished tied for third. Interestingly enough, here I am talking about Walton Heath. She was a factor in that AIG Women's Open too. It was a great kind of testing ground, similar golf courses in terms of how they played. Because remember, Walton Heath is not. If some of you are going, wait a minute, you're talking about the Women's Open. Isn't that played on a links golf course? Well, it wasn't at Walton Heath, as the name would imply. So the style of play that they had a lot of similarities, in my view, right? Because I was doing the on-course play-by-play last year. So I think that Andrea is another one where you can look at it and go, how well you know her, maybe you don't know her quite as well, maybe you learned through the Solheim Cup, what have you. But I have a feeling that what happened to her in that final round will be something that she will learn a great deal from too.
Yeah, it was tough out there. Obviously didn't have my best right from the start. I was pretty nervous, but yeah, just didn't have great shots out there. I had a couple of drives that really cost me, especially the double on 4. But, you know, I try to fight my way back, especially on the back 9 with the birdie on 12. I felt like I was still in it. Yeah, and I really grinded out there. I tried to come back, but yeah, it was tough. I just didn't have my best today. Yeah, a lot of positives to take away from the week. You know, this was my first time being in a last group of a major championship, both the third and fourth rounds. So, you know, I was extremely nervous, but I feel like I learned a lot about how to, you know, control my emotions out here, and yeah, definitely a lot of positives to take away. I feel like this is only gonna, you know, make me stronger in the long run and give me some confidence going into the rest of the season. Yeah, I mean, Lancaster has some of the best crowds I've ever experienced in my entire life. I had a blast out there. They were, you know, screaming my name, and it was great to hear and have their support. So, yeah, very thankful that they all came out to watch some great golf. And yeah, it was an experience unlike any other.